So ever since I started my YouTube channel, people have been asking me to make a video on the infamous roof Koreans. Now, I was going to originally, but somebody beat me to the punch. And to be quite honest, they did an amazing job. And I just felt like, why not react to it on the channel? It kind of falls in line with the theme. I'm Korean. These riots happened in K-Town. I had homies' dads that were involved in these riots. So I figured, why not, do a little reaction. But before we get into the video, I just have to give a quick shout out to Bring All the Smoke, which is a clothing company that sent me this awesome hoodie. Let me just take these headphones off real quick. But yeah, guys, this is a large. I'm 5'10", and it fits me pretty damn well. It says Bring All the Smoke in the back. It's got the Korean flag right here. Got a Korean flag right here. And it's got some Korean words right here. And it says 모든 연기를 가져와. Basically means bring all the smoke in Korean. And I felt like it lined up perfectly because these Koreans in this video were definitely ready for all the smoke. But anyways, I'm going to have a link to the dude's Instagram in the description below. So if you guys are interested in buying one of these hoodies, check out the description. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Wednesday, April 29th, 1992. Chaos erupts in the streets of Los Angeles as tens of thousands of looters pillage the city. And with emergency services unavailable, business owners were left to fend for themselves. And out of all the stories told of the infamous 1992 LA riots, none have scratched the surface between myth and legend, like the story of a group of Korean immigrants taking arms on rooftops. This is that story.
Real quick, this is a very well edited video. Shout out to this guy for doing his due diligence in covering this story. But shit, let's get it. These dudes were ready. Every time I see clips of them, they really just look like regular ajosshis that were down. They got the sniper.
Hi everyone, Donut here. The wait is over. I finally got around to making the Roof Korean video after years of anticipation. Just kidding. Here's Popo Medic.
In April of
Shout out to Donut. I'd be watching all of his videos, but let's get it.
1992, 4 LAPD officers were tried following one of the most controversial excessive force incidents in American history. And after the Rodney King verdict was read, all 4 officers were acquitted, resulting in immediate protest.
Earlier, we had quite a scene where protesters did storm the doors of Parker Center.
The protest started out peaceful, but at approximately 4:15 p.m., a group of men approached the Payless Liquor in Delhi on Florence Avenue. The men walked into the liquor store, grabbed whatever the fuck they wanted, and walked out with no intention of paying. 2 of the men smashed the liquor store's front door, and another man struck the store owner's son with a beer bottle, rendering him unconscious. 911 was dialed, and 2 officers from the 77th Street Division of the LAPD
So a lot of people do a lot of people do say that the riots stemmed from the Rodney King verdict, but I think a lot of people forget about the incident involving the one Korean store owner and Latasha Harlins, rest in peace. If you guys don't know, Latasha Harlins was a young black girl who was killed inside of a convenience store by a Korean clerk because the Korean lady thought she was stealing. And apparently an altercation took place and the little girl Latasha ended up getting shot, I think in the back or something. And it was complete outrage from the black community. And I think that incident played a big role on the divide amongst Koreans and blacks amongst LA. But that's just my take, but let's get it.
Responded, finding that the offenders had left upon arrival. And while making checks in the area for the offenders, a young man threw an object at their car. Approximately 24 officers, commanded by LAPD Lieutenant Michael Mullen, arrived and arrested the teenager. But the teenager put up a fight and resisted arrest. The teenager was a well-known minor in the community, further agitating a mass crowd of people who witnessed the arrest. The police formed a perimeter around the arresting officers as the crowd grew more hostile, leading to further altercations and arrests. And fearing the situation could potentially escalate to a life-threatening situation or the use of deadly force, Lieutenant Mullen ordered officers out of the area altogether. And by 6 p.m., the looting began on mass scale.
Rampaging protesters looted businesses in South Central Los Angeles, setting dozens of fires. One fireman has been shot.
The crowd began to turn physically violent, seriously injuring bystanders and other members.
It's kind of crazy looking at all this because, I mean, we just, not just, but we got over the looting scandal that happened, what, a year or two ago over on Fairfax, or all over LA, really. And I find, like, people just want to find an excuse or a reason to go steal some shit. I mean, yeah, I know, I get you guys are outraged, but at the end of the day, is looting really going to do anything? I mean, it just sounds like greed and personal gain, in my opinion, and just an excuse to act like a dickhead. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below.
Members within the crowd, absolutely polarizing the community and devastating business owners.
It's not right! It's not right! It's not right what y'all doing! I came from the ghetto too! Same as all of you did!
Man, that clip of the older black guy screaming at those dudes always gives me chills, man. Always gives me chills. Damn, that shit hits.
The growing number of rioters in the streets began attacking civilians, throwing debris at cars, pulling people from their vehicles, smashing shop windows, and setting them on fire. The chaos had sent shockwaves into the living rooms of millions of Americans across the nation, as a Chinese immigrant by the name of Choi Si-choi and a trucker named Reginald Denny, who was delivering gravel for the construction of low-income housing, were both horrifically attacked during live coverage of the riots. At approximately 7:15 p.m., as reports of vandalism, looting, and physical attacks continued to come in, Lieutenant Mullen elected to take the information but not respond. Mullen was later relieved by a captain, ordering officers only to...
Mob mentality is so real. Like, I firmly believe that a lot of these people aren't capable of doing all these things alone. But when you've got like a group of 100 people acting a fool, all of a sudden you grow balls. It's crazy. So that's why mob mentality is dangerous. Like, man.
Assess the Florence and Normandy area. And at 12:15 a.m., Mayor Bradley signed an order for a dusk to dawn curfew, as well as declaring a state of emergency for the city of Los Angeles. And on the following day, by mid-morning, violence appeared widespread, as extensive looting and arson was witnessed across Los Angeles County. The rioting moved from South Central Los Angeles, going north through Central Los Angeles, decimating the neighborhoods as far as Westlake to Fairfax, before reaching Hollywood. The looting and fires engulfed Hollywood Boulevard, and simultaneously rioting moved west into neighboring independent cities of Compton, Carson, and Long Beach. You might even remember Long Beach native Bradley Noel singing about it on Sublime's self-titled album.
First spot we hit it was my liquor store.
R.I.P. Bradley Noel, fucking legend. From Olympic Street to 120th Street laid the
This dude right here is my homegirl's dad.
Richard Park.
It was either
owned
him or
another
the other
store
dude with the
a few
glasses.
doors down.
Hold on one second.
Richard
Yeah,
informed
Richard Park,
David
this dude.
that he was at the nearby shop and in the middle of a gunfight. David locked up the gun store, ran across the parking lot, armed with a Beretta. When he arrived, he heard gunshots, at which point looters from a...
Yeah, so the dude in the white hat is my homegirl's dad, and I think the dude in the glasses is her uncle, something like that. But the dude in the white hat for sure her dad, though. I tripped out when she told me that too. I was like, "What? Your dad was in the riots? That's crazy."
Street made their way to the gun shop plaza and opened fire on Richard and David. But when the two men fired back, the assailants fled the area immediately. Word quickly spread throughout Koreatown that this method had worked, in not only protecting Richard's property, but his life. Korean business owners who caught word of this began to phone in a Los Angeles-based radio station called Radio Korea, pleading to the radio station's audience for an armed response to help protect their property.
Everybody park in the street, took some everything, liquor,
Damn, these Koreans really got militant up in this. They got the radio station so they can all communicate. They got military training. They were ready. They were ready. Man. A shout out to these Koreans that held it down, man, for real.
beer.
When you got here, you said people were still inside the store. What did you do?
Sit inside. I shut the 8 times. Everybody moved.
A merchant guarding his property. You got anybody out there or just a shot?
Rick Romero out here. All of the merchants here are not going to wait for the National Guard or police.
Okay, bro. At the end of the day, some people might call this extreme, but you have to understand the cops were not coming to help. And these Korean business owners felt abandoned. Like they felt like the cops just forgot about them. And because of this reason, there has been a distrust amongst Koreans and the local authorities. The Asians don't trust the police because at the end of the day, they didn't come through when they needed them most. And that's just a fact. And I think Koreans that live in Koreatown to this very day are still affected by this and still have a deep distrust for the police. Because at the end of the day, they're going to say that their resources were stretched thin, but they could have sent some help to kind of regulate this, but they didn't. Koreatown was completely swept under the rug when it came to these riots. But hey, let's get it.
Or anybody else. You talked about guerrilla warfare, and it's right here, right on this premises here. Just about every one of the individuals in this.
Radio Korea quickly became dubbed Koreatown's makeshift command center, warning listeners of the whereabouts of incoming looters, and offered itself as a 911 system, allowing shop owners to call out for help over the air. After the realization sank in, there would be no response from police, fire, or EMS, already stretched too thin, responding to thousands of ongoing emergencies.
가게라고 있습니까? 한일도 옷가게 거기는 남자 옷이에요. 남자 옷가게. 네, 거기 탔어요? 네, 거기가 지금 불타고 있어요.
We need National Guard in here.
We have no police support whatsoever. People are driving by shooting at us, and we have to do something about it.
A local resident by the name of Ina Cho and president of the Korean Veterans Association in 1992 was listening to the broadcast and decided to call in a little broadcast of his own, requesting all Korean Marine Corps veterans to respond to the area. Soon after, a group of around 15 Korean Marine Corps veterans arrived, equipped with rifles, and rendezvoused with Cho. The men responded to a large electronics warehouse, Kim's TV, where Radio Korea was broadcast.
Man, again, shout out to these freaking Koreans, man. Came through militant. Man, dude, this shit gets me hyped. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Dude, again, whoever made this video, they did a really good job.
Suggesting that a mob of looters were attempting to break in. The warehouse had an iron door, which the mob was beating and ramming with a truck. When the mob finally took down the door, Cho attempted to stop the looters who were sprinting inside when 2 vehicles with a combined occupation of 10 people got out of their cars and opened fire on Cho, hitting him 1 time. Richard Kim, whose parents owned the electronics store, armed himself with a semi-automatic rifle. As the warehouse was under fire, his mother suffered a gunshot wound while trying to shield his father. And as more Koreans became injured, more and more Koreans took up arms, taking positions on rooftops for maximum tactical advantage. Not only did they have the high ground and could see everything from the roof, but parapets made for the perfect cover from incoming fire. And these firefights were televised.
More familiar with weaponry than I am. He says it looks to be a 9mm Uzi.
Where Korean shopkeepers could be seen armed with M1 carbines, Ruger Mini 14s, pump-action shotguns, handguns, and Daewoo K1A1s. Like, look at this dude's loadout. He's got a red polo t-shirt and a Daewoo K1A1. I mean, come on. One of the most iconic photographs of roof Koreans happened at a small grocery store called California Market. The owner fortified his store with 20 well-armed employees.
California Market. This was on 5th and Western. So I live right down the street. Kaju Market. That's what it was called. Now it's huge. It used to be a 1-story store. Like just 1 story high. But now it's like 3 stories or some crap. It's crazy. But yeah, that's the Carl's Jr.'s right there. That's 5th Street. This is Western. And And you know Western be going up.
Volunteers, all of whom were wearing white headbands. They were often shooting blanks or discharging warning shots into the air, which is dumb. You gotta wonder where those went, you know? But their methods worked, as looters scattered, fleeing the area as quickly as they could. On May 3rd, after 4 days of exchanging gunfire with armed looters, the rooftop Koreans successfully forced every single wave of remaining mobs out of Koreatown, saving countless lives and livelihoods in which the Korean American identity was born. And on that same day, over 1,100 Marines and 6,500 National Guard troops patrolled the streets of Los Angeles, putting an end to the chaos.
Oh, when all the chaos was already done, that's when they decided to come in. I don't know, man. Sounds kind of BS to me. But hey, incredible video. Shout out to the guy that made it. I'm gonna have it linked in the description below. And yeah, the Korean American identity was definitely born that day, because without those guys, without those Koreans out there frontlining, who knows how worse it could have gotten, you know? I mean, granted, a bunch of people lost their livelihoods that day, but these Koreans came through, man. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. Let me know what you guys want me to react to next. Don't forget to check out one of these hoodies in the description below. It's good quality. It's super soft. But until next time, I'll be seeing you guys later. Peace.